For most of his adult life, Simon Cowell made it clear that fatherhood was not part of his plan. Known worldwide for his sharp tongue, brutal honesty, and relentless work ethic, Simon often said that having children would interfere with the lifestyle he had built around his career. His world revolved around music, television, and long nights spent shaping global talent franchises. To audiences, he appeared content being alone, powerful, and in control. Family life seemed unnecessary to someone who had achieved wealth, influence, and fame beyond imagination. Simon himself admitted that he valued independence above everything else. Yet life has a way of rewriting even the most firmly held beliefs. When news broke that Simon was expecting a child, it shocked fans, critics, and even Simon himself. It marked the beginning of a transformation no one saw coming. A scandal that changed everything. The announcement of Simon Cowell's impending fatherhood did not arrive quietly. It came wrapped in controversy that dominated headlines worldwide. The child's mother, Lauren Silverman, was married at the time to Andrew Silverman, a close friend of Simon's. The revelation stunned the public and fractured personal relationships behind the scenes. Andrew publicly accused Simon of betrayal, and the situation placed Simon under intense scrutiny. For a man who had always controlled his public image, this was unfamiliar territory. Yet instead of retreating, Simon faced the reality head-on. Despite the pain caused and the fallout that followed, he slowly embraced the responsibility that lay ahead. While the circumstances were complicated and deeply emotional for all involved, Simon began preparing himself for a role he had never wanted, but was now destined to fulfill: becoming a father. The birth of Eric and a new identity. When Eric Cowell was born, everything shifted. Simon rushed across the Atlantic to be present for the birth, leaving behind auditions and commitments that once would have taken priority. Holding his son for the first time was an experience he later described as overwhelming and transformative. The moment stirred memories of his own father, Eric Selig Philip Cowell, who had passed away years earlier, reopening old emotions while creating new ones. Naming his son Eric was not just symbolic, it was deeply personal. From that day forward, Simon's identity expanded beyond music executive and television mogul. He became a father. Fans noticed the change almost immediately. His public persona softened, his social media filled with pride, and his rigid schedule began to bend. Eric's arrival marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. A softer side the world had never seen. Fatherhood revealed a version of Simon Cowell that few people ever expected to see. The man once known for harsh critiques and emotional distance began speaking openly about bedtime routines, reading stories, and simple family joys. Eric introduced Simon to a sense of purpose that success alone had never provided. According to Simon, those quiet moments at home became more meaningful than applause or ratings. He began rethinking his health, reducing destructive habits, and slowing down for the first time in decades. Being present for his son forced him to confront how fragile life truly is. The transformation was not instant, but it was genuine. Eric didn't just change Simon's schedule, he changed his priorities. Love replaced control, patience replaced urgency, and for the first time, Simon allowed himself to be vulnerable in ways his career never demanded. Grief before joy could fully settle. Behind the scenes, Simon's emotional transformation was shaped by profound loss. Before Eric's birth, Simon experienced deep grief following the death of his mother, Julie Brett. She had been his emotional anchor, the parent who raised him and supported him long after his father passed away. Losing her left a void that success could not fill. Simon buried his pain in work, adopting an exhausting schedule that left little room for healing. He later described that period as one of intense unhappiness and isolation. Work became both a distraction and a prison. When Eric arrived, it did not erase that grief, but it gave Simon something to hold on to. His son became a reason to keep going, a reminder that life still held meaning even after loss. Slowly, joy and sorrow learned to coexist. How fatherhood helped him heal. Eric's presence played a powerful role in Simon's recovery from emotional burnout and depression. The responsibility of caring for a child forced him to be present in ways he had never practiced before. Feeding, playing, laughing, and simply being there gave Simon a sense of grounding. He later said that Eric saved his life, not through grand gestures, but through ordinary moments that reconnected him to the present. Watching his son experience the world with innocence reminded Simon of what truly mattered. Instead of suppressing grief with work, he began facing it with healthier tools. He sought balance, prioritized mental health, and learned that strength did not mean emotional isolation. Fatherhood didn't remove pain from Simon's life, but it taught him how to carry it with love instead of exhaustion. A near-death experience that changed his outlook. Just as life seemed to find balance, Simon faced another defining moment. In 2020, he suffered a serious accident while riding an electric bike at home, breaking his back and narrowly avoiding permanent injury. The incident forced months of rehabilitation and intense physical therapy. For Simon and his family, the experience was terrifying. It was a stark reminder of how quickly life can change. Lauren Silverman stood by him throughout his recovery, providing unwavering support as he relearned strength and patience. The accident forced Simon to confront his mortality in a way fame never had. Lying in recovery, he realized that no achievement could replace time with his son or partner. The experience reshaped his priorities once again, reinforcing the importance of health, presence, and gratitude. Love, partnership, and stability. Through hardship, Lauren Silverman became an essential source of stability in Simon's life. Their relationship, born under difficult circumstances, evolved into a partnership grounded in mutual support and growth. Together, they navigated public scrutiny, parenthood, recovery, and personal change. Lauren's role during Simon's rehabilitation highlighted the depth of their bond, showing resilience rather than perfection. Over time, their family life became quieter and more intentional. Simon often spoke about how Lauren and Eric gave him a reason to slow down and choose presence over pressure. The chaos that once defined his existence gave way to routine, care, and connection. Their relationship demonstrated that even relationships formed in controversy can grow into something meaningful when shaped by responsibility, reflection, and commitment. Another loss that reopened old wounds. In October 2024, Simon experienced another emotional blow with the sudden death of Liam Payne, a former One Direction member and someone Simon had mentored closely. Liam's passing shocked the music world and deeply affected Simon, reviving memories of past losses. Having helped form One Direction on The X Factor, Simon watched the boys grow from teenagers into global stars. Liam's death reminded him how fragile life can be, even for those surrounded by success. Simon publicly expressed his grief, speaking not only as a producer, but as someone who cared deeply for Liam as a person. The loss reinforced Simon's awareness that fame offers no protection from pain. It also deepened his appreciation for family, time, and the responsibility he carries as a mentor and father. A life redefined by love and loss, Simon Cowell's journey is no longer defined solely by success, controversy, or criticism. It is shaped by transformation. From a man who rejected family life to a devoted father, from emotional isolation to vulnerability, his story reflects how love and loss can reshape even the most rigid identities. Eric's birth did not erase Simon's pain, but it gave it meaning. Grief, near death, and personal tragedy taught him that control is an illusion and connection is everything. Today, Simon speaks less about dominance and more about balance. His life stands as proof that change does not come when life is perfect, but when it demands growth. Through fatherhood, partnership, and reflection, Simon Cowell found not just success, but purpose.